What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video from Dylan's Trains. Today we're I'm gonna do something that I should have done for 100 subscribers and show off my whole HO scale locomotive roster. I'm busy kind of cleaning stuff out of my room right now, so I had to take the stuff off the shelves for a bit. But yeah, I will go over each engine one by one. This is not all of them in a row because if you look at the boxes, there's just 3 boxes in there, and 844 is in its own box at the moment. So yeah, but this is basically my whole locomotive roster for all of you all are wondering. So I guess we just start down here. We got a chassis system GP30, I think it is. I really don't know. It's an old Lifelike. It doesn't run. It can get power from the motor, but it basically has cracked gears. So yeah, that's a future project for the other time, for another time. Here's this. I don't know what it's called. This Louisiana and Delta locomotive, but I don't know if to me, it looks like a CF7. I don't know if it's a GP something. I don't know what that is, but it's a bit. It's a bit like, but this one does run. It's an old Athearn, but they're built pretty good. And yeah, it still runs. I still like it. I have not shown this one off on the channel yet, so maybe who knows? Maybe I'll get this thing on the OSMR Club layout at some point. 1501 hasn't been ran there yet, so at all since I've been going there. Next up, we have an EMD Pennsylvania Railroad NNW2. This is made by BLI. This is a Paragon 4. It sounds great. It runs good. I mean, it's mainly meant for yard operations. I don't pull long trains with it, but it's obviously meant to be a switcher. If you haven't watched my videos, usually when I go to the club, if I bring this engine, I'm usually just leaving it in the yard to either build trains for people or build trains of my own with this locomotive. But that's basically, I got a year or two ago, so it's been around for quite some time. Next up, a locomotive, but from that I've had since I was a kid. I don't know what type of locomotive this is, but it's like a Louis Nashville switcher number 99. This is DCC, but it doesn't run well on DCC. It could really only run well on DC. The decoder is intact, but it just doesn't run well. Oh yeah, by the way, FYI, some of these locomotives you're gonna see, they were when I was a kid, so I didn't know the delicacy of models, so just be warned of that. So yeah, but you'll see the newer models have done much better to take care of them. Next up, we have a Bachmann trolley. This one you haven't seen ran on the channel because I barely ran this thing. I used to run it a lot when I was a kid, but now I haven't barely ran it because the motor doesn't really work out. Isn't really working anymore. It sometimes can run, but it's very rarely it will. And I can't run. And the OSMR Club layout does have a trolley line, but it doesn't work. It doesn't get power in the track. It only gets it from the overhead catenary wire. So it's like I can't really run it there. So yeah, it's kind of just here. I usually kind of use it as makeshift oversized loads. Oops, sorry, kind of got on the camera there for a sec. Next up, a HO scale proto. I think 2000, I think it is, RDC. This was DCC sound equipped. I got this from trains.com. That's trains with a Z, for around 30, I think 50 or 70 bucks for her DCC sound locomotive. Granted, it's not the best, obviously, nowadays, but I also consider that very, very, very good. It has interior lighting from where the passenger curves. There's actually figures in there, and it has decent sound for my liking, and it has awesome lighting. If the club had nighttime lighting, I'm very sure I would run this. This would be the first engine I would bring because this thing puts out some serious light. Next up, we got the Bachmann 060 number 4433. Is that yeah, 4433. It's basically a 060 steam locomotive from the Bachmann Yardmaster set. I got this because this is the first time my old track kind of was warped and rusted and all corroded and all kinds of stuff. So some of my trains from my past were sat in a box for a good long time. So it kind of went. And this set gave me the tracks again to actually start running trains again, and especially ones that I'll get to in a little bit. But yeah, this is kind of technically my only other operational steam engine currently, because we'll get into that talk about the other two in a little bit, but obviously 844 is the other one. But yeah, that's it. Next up, we have a Bachmann Santa Fe F7, I believe. Or I think it's an FT. I don't know. This is like an older model. This was from my aunt and uncle's place. They had like a whole bunch of old HO Skill stuff in their storage, and they still do have some. But they said I could take some of the HO Skill stuff back home because they were not using it at all. So and so that's basically kind of that. It's just it has a horn hook coupler, so I kind of had to use a buffer car to help if I want to pull all kinds of stuff with it. But it runs pretty decently, especially for it sitting for a while. Next up, and a not a Santa Fe, a Southern Pacific Daylight F7. It's one I actually got for Easter some time ago, and this thing it runs great. It runs great still to this day. The headlight is it's a bit 50-50. Sometimes it turns on, sometimes it doesn't. It's a bit of an older engine, so it kind of tends to do weird things. But it hasn't ran at the club layout yet, and also it has kind of like a bit of a interesting. It doesn't. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I don't have any daylight passenger cars to pull with this thing, but I usually pull freight anyway. So yeah, it's runs good. I like to pull and that's really good. Now this engine right here is where it started all. This is obvious. It's an old lifelike Santa Fe locomotive from a Tyco. I think it's a lifelike or Tyco train set. This engine was the one that started it all for me. When I came home one day, I came home one day from my grandmother's place, and I heard a noise coming from my bedroom. The lights were turned off, and turns out my dad bought me an HO scale train set, and set it up on the floor, running it around my room, and I was so happy. And yeah, it's obviously because it's one of my older engines. You can see it's missing the front coupler, but it's got a horn hook. Because I've actually managed to find an old horn hook to replace it for the time being. I will eventually do knuckle couplers because it is better for them. So, but yeah, but it still runs. It still. I'm honestly surprised it still runs to this day. To be honest, it's like this thing is old. Next up, probably one of my favorite engines to run with combo engines, but this is my HO scale United States Army. I don't know what F unit. I don't really know what F unit this is. I'm gonna be honest, but somebody can let me know. I don't know what manufacturer made this. I really don't. I think it's Bachmann or something else, or I think Tyco Lifelike, but later on, very late, the Lifelike or Tyco or something. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Actually, I don't think. I actually don't know. Okay. This basically, I got this for my birthday a few years back when I remember we were going to a train show and I saw somebody holding with I think like a Gevo pulling a U.S. Army train. I wanted to have an Army train, and that's kind of where I've been expanding. I mean, I want to grow that train more. It's only like 4 cars, but yeah, this unit kind of has been there. It's ran around the OSMR club layout a few times, and it's probably my fastest. And I'm gonna be honest, this locomotive is probably my fastest DC locomotive. I think this is. If we're talking about DC, this engine is definitely the fastest out of all of them. I am 90% certain on that, but yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll do some testing with this, but yeah, it's a very fun engine. Nice, sleek looking U.S. Army paint scheme, and so forth. Now we're getting into some Amtrak stuff here for a sec. For this right here, the light's glaring into the window. I'm so sorry about that. Let me see if I can back. There we go. This isn't the a Bachmann HO scale ACX 64 with DCC sound equipped. If you obviously know for Amtrak, like the new Siemens stuff, Amtrak has been making the ACX 64s, the Siemens Chargers, all that sort of stuff. I kind of one day was playing a train simulator, and I was about the Northeast Corridor, and I kind of was liked the ACX 64s a lot. They were really nice locomotives. I saw they had them in HO scale. I asked for one for my birthday, and I got it, and I ran at the OSMR club layout quite a few times with my Amfleet passenger cars because it's just fun. It's just fun. Let's just clear, especially running your Amtrak trains at high speed. Next up, we get into some P42s. First off, 203. Yes, I know this is 203 before the whole the Operation Lifesaver paint scheme, but because this was a Kato model before 203 was repainted. But basically, I wanted to get an Amtrak P. I remember wanting to get an Amtrak P42 for a while, because one of my older Amtrak locomotives, they ran still, but they didn't have the couplers, and they were not, or didn't have them as great. So they kind of just been. So I didn't really have any Amtrak locomotives to pull this, and then one day, that I asked for this for Christmas, and I got this for Christmas, and it's been on the Kosamar Club layout several times. Pulled actually in my recent video, I actually got a new Kato Super Lounge car, which is right there. Pulling my start of the Empire Builder, so that's exciting. So you get to see that. It's pulled my fictional Amtrak train called the Bear Lake Limited and such. But yeah, it's just a nice P42, and it's a Kato model, and obviously not after Genesis, but it's still a really nice model, especially if you're into DC only. It's really good and saves a lot of money. Next up, obviously another Kato P42, number 160. This is obviously an Amtrak 50th anniversary heritage unit in the Pepsi can paint scheme. This is a high school graduation present that I got from my parents, solely because I just want another P42 to pair up with 203, and I actually seen 160 real life on my birthday, believe it or not, as well. So yeah, it was cool to see it. And I'm glad I had to have a model of a heritage unit. This is my only heritage unit, by the way, but it's still cool to have a heritage unit nonetheless, and the one that I've seen in real life. And now we get back to some more. Oops, sorry about that. Now to some more I guess you could say more modern-ish stuff. First up, we got an SD60M by Walters. Mainline is an NS1, obviously. This one runs pretty. It's a great runner. Still runs to this day. I mean, Walters stuff, they're really good. They're for the price you get them. They got decent detail and they run great. And yeah, there's more. That's really all I could say from it. It's a really good model. I've brought it to the OSMR Club layout a few times. It's as well. It does well hauling decently long trains by itself up the grades. And that's basically that. I mean, I got it because long story short, I got massively sick with cancer, and my mom, I took a local trip to my local train hobby shop after a long time because I found out it was still open, and I got this locomotive because I never had an SD70 Ace or something like that. I always had GE locomotives. This is my actually only EMD road, big road power for EMD wise, at least for the time being. Maybe I'll get something in the future. But yeah, that's basically the reason I got this locomotive. And now we're on to something a lot nicer, an Intermountain NS ET44AH. I got this from Christmas last year, so this is actually getting close to being in my house for a year, on my roster for a year. It's DCC. It's not sound equipped, unfortunately. But maybe, who knows? Maybe I can get that changed. This is my actually first ever Gevo. But yeah, and this thing does great. It's nice, heavy. You got a lot of detail. It can pull log trains. It pulls 30 coal hoppers at the OSMR Club, which those are heavy by itself with no issues, even up the steepest grades that the club has got. But it's done pretty well. It's pulled my army train around a few times at the OSMR Club, and it's a great great road power. And now we're going into some railroads territory that I live around. CSX. This is an Athearn ready to roll DCC quick plug-in number 579 and a CSX-9 to be specific. I don't remember where I really got this engine. I believe I got this engine for Christmas because I wanted a big CSX engine when I was a kid. And yeah, it's basically, and it still runs. It's a great road hauler still. These, let's be honest, the old Athearns and even the Athearn Ready Rolls are great performance models. They run for a very long time. And this one is no different. So yeah, and you've seen at I've brought it to the OSMR Club a few times. It's pulled with that engine right beside it in a sec. We'll get to in a second. With 50 car manifest trains and even the coal trains that I tend to like to pull at the club. But that's basically the CSX-9. It's probably one of my favorites to run, to be honest. It's just DC. I may get a decoder to plug it in because it's a quick plug engine. So yeah, and this number 579, we have another Athearn -9 DCC quick plug-in. It's a number 9682. This one I got the same period as the NS SD7 SD60M because of during chemo I was like traveling in and out of state to the hospital because I had to travel in and out of state to go to a good hospital to get the treatments done. And I remember asking my mom, let's just go can we maybe just go to a train store or something because we were staying there for a while. So I was like, and there was one in Georgia. I forgot the name of it. I may try to find it again at some point if I'm ever back in that area, but because I do go visit there still to this day. But and I remember coming to the store. It was a lot of stuff, a lot of O scale, a lot of HO and N, and they're actually right in front of a Norfolk Southern main line. So if you do want to do some train watching there, that is actually a nice place to do it. And then I saw this engine here. I never had anything Union Pacific before, so I just asked if I can get it, and I got it. So yeah, and this engine is ran on its own, same thing as 579. Actually ran with 579 as together, pulled heavy trains together between coal trains and manifest over some our club layout, which is very fun. Next one, obviously, you can see the little bit of damage is done because of the freaking. I think this thing fell off the layout or something. I did have an old layout at the time, a long time ago. An Athearn Blue Box GP50 BNSF GP50 number 3205. This is actually I believe my second ever locomotive I ever got on my roster. It runs great still to this day. It still pulls trains. I've run to the Osamar Club layout once, but it still runs good there, and it still ran great there. It pulled a short local quite by itself, like a few times, and pulled a few trains by itself. I actually want to thank an OSM club member, Paul. He actually helped fix this locomotive to get it running again. So, because it had some issues, like the wheels were uneven out of the rail and such. So it was like, yeah, it was great to see this engine kind of get running on the tracks again. And next up, we have a Walters Trainline Santa Fe -8 number 5350, like 55.3 or 553 or whatever how you want to say it. This is actually the most recent addition to the roster. I haven't gotten any locomotives for a while since that train show, so it's basically long story short. I went to the Florida Rail Show, which is a Florida Rail Fair. It's a train show in DeLand, Florida, it's a decent sized show. I actually would recommend going check it out. They have all kinds of stuff there. And I saw this locomotive on one of the vendors there for, believe it or not, $30. Yeah, for this locomotive right here was $30. It runs great. This is a used engine because if you look at I can't really show you this, but the wheels on the locomotive are like brownish, like showing signs of it ran a lot in the past. Whoever owned it in the past, but believe it, this thing still runs better, really good. To this day, which I'm really surprised. I'm actually happy about it because I am a fan of the Santa Fe war bonnets with like their before they merged with BNSF, like the -8s, -9s, the SD75s, and all that sort of stuff. And I'm looking to get a blue bonnet at some point, like a Santa Fe SD40-2, but that'd be kind of fun. Next up, another locomotive. Obviously, see details missing, whatever, you know the drill. An NS high hood. I forget what is it. I forget GP40 or GP38 high hood number 7702. This is my first ever NS locomotive. Still runs to this day. I use it obviously for more yard jobs / switching jobs. It tends to run pretty good. It still runs pretty good. I've run to the Osamar Club layout a few times. It ran great there. I think I have to change the back coupler because it's like you obviously see one of those plastic apron couplers which are not that great, to be honest, to get it. And maybe try to figure out how to do with some maybe re-adding detail to this thing again. But yeah, it still runs. It's my first ever NS locomotive, so and I had a blast with it. I still have a blast with it to this day. So yeah, that's basically 7702 in a nutshell. Now, a little bit of a recent addition, number 15, CSX GP 15-1 by Walters Trainline, 1545. This one it does run, but it has issues. It doesn't pick up power consistently. Like it's like compared to this one, compared to the -8, this thing does not like to run. like as much. Like if you see my videos where it has ran like with like my CSX and UP-8, they -9s, it's mainly because the engines are pushing them to help it get power. So it doesn't run great. I need to get somebody to help fix it. Maybe I may trade this one in for another one. I don't know. Maybe, who knows? We'll see. But yeah, that's basically 1545. It's like another birthday present thing. Is I just wanted to expand my CSX roster because that CSX I grew up around. So yeah. Next up, I mean, this engine, I'm like, yeah, it's dusty because I've not moved this thing in like months. I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna clean this thing. A Amtrak FP45. I forget how you say it. Like, it's an FP45 or like, I know it's like I think it's a little bit more than that, but you know what it is. It's another Athearn Blue Box number, but technically my second Amtrak ever Amtrak locomotive, because we'll get to that one in a sec. This one does not. It still runs to this day because it's an Athearn Blue Box. Nothing's been messed with it or anything like that. It's just that the reason I haven't ran it is because there's no couplers on it. So yeah, honestly, I don't really know how to install couplers on an Athearn Blue Box locomotive, so I might need to get some help with that. But yeah, 505 still runs to this day. It's just I haven't ran it. I haven't gotten a chance to get couplers on it yet to pull some Amtrak trains around. So yeah. And my very first ever locomotive, number 8, a P40D, an Athearn Blue Box P40DC number 838. This is my first Amtrak Genesis locomotive. But yeah, it's obviously like missing the front plow. It's been sat in a box for years. It still runs, believe it or not. It still does. And the coupler is broken off of it. So yeah, 838. I think for a while until 203. Actually, before 838 did pull. When I got back into the model train thing, like I was still into trains, but I just didn't have my model trains at the time. 838 still pulled passenger trains before 203 came, but yeah, but it's still, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this locomotive. Maybe, maybe if I find somebody who likes to do projects, maybe I'll pay them to do something to work, remodel this locomotive into something truly glorious. All right, I'm gonna stand up here for a second. You're gonna have to bear with me. And sorry, saw my finger in the way. This is my first ever steam engine, another Bachmann 060 by B&O, Baltimore, Ohio. This one hasn't ran in a, doesn't really work anymore because unfortunately this one actually I know definitely suffered a massive incident. It fell off my original layout and hit the floor. It still runs, like the motor still's intact, but the thing is like the drivers and stuff are not they're not totally messed up. It can still move, but I need to figure out to fix it. But yeah, it's just been sitting in the box. I really haven't used this thing at all. Now this one is also one like 9720. We have my 282 Mikado nickel plate road number 611. Yeah, I know 611, not the J class, but. This engine's also having its own issues, which I need to send it back to Bachmann to get fixed because it's because the reason it's messed up is because I actually found out. Turns out the whole wires, like how you have the wires in between DCC sound locomotives on Bachmann ones, especially their steamers. Yeah, apparently the wires got pulled to a little bit and it's now short circuiting. So that's why the engine's getting hot, and the sounds are coming out crappy and the. Sorry, my phone's running out of storage, so I'm just gonna make this quick. But yeah, that's basically the whole HO scale. Locomotive roster 844 is still in the box. I actually kind of started putting the edit locomotives back as of right now. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing my locomotives run. If you guys want to see them running or haven't seen specific ones run, let me know and I'll make sure maybe next time to run them in the OSMR club. So yeah, take care guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.